America's best days are yet to come. That's because conservatives like you know and live the values our great country was built on. The Heritage Foundation exists to make sure your voice is heard in the D.C. swamp each day, shining the light on a bright future. The Heritage Foundation stands for your values and won't give up the fight because they know you never will. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Here, our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Oh, yes. Several great speeches at the United Nations, none of them by an Arab country. One by a great president of Indonesia, the largest Muslim country, was outstanding. None of them were good from Europe, quite frankly, except Hungary. Great speech by the president of Argentina. You know, here and there. Here and there. I'm of the belief, as I've told you before, that the UN needs to go. It just needs to go. Netanyahu got up to give a speech, and two-thirds of the place emptied. They went there for the purpose of creating a show of leaving. Now, what he said will reverberate. They'll want to know what he said. And for every genocidal murderer who runs some country, none elected, of course, they sat still and they listened to every word. Every word. Palestinians, as an example. But not here. You know, I don't have any personal animus towards Megyn Kelly. I do think she's kind of screwing up. That's just me personally. If I were advising her, I don't know her that well. I think she's hanging out with the wrong crowd, but she's free to hang out with whatever crowd she wants. But the idea that some of us don't notice it is kind of weird. And I don't really pay attention to a lot of this stuff, but enough. But I do believe in accuracy. Accuracy. And so I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here she was with Tucker Carlson last week. I want you to listen to exactly what she said and then what she said. I guess it was yesterday. People send me this stuff. Honestly, I don't listen to her show. It's nothing personal. I just got things to do. So this is from last week. Cut one, go.
To turn around and call Charlie Kirk an anti-Semite is such a disgusting smear. And you're right, he's young.
Okay, who called him an anti-Semite? Did I miss something, Mr. Producer? I'm just curious. Who called Charlie an anti-Semite? Obviously, that's BS. I don't know if anybody's called him an anti-Semite. So that's number one. Go ahead.
Was young and wasn't used to being attacked like that by people who supported him and people whose donations are actually really important to the ongoing existence of his organization.
Well, people aren't required to keep giving donations if they have a disagreement with somebody. I ran a legal foundation for decades. Some people donated. Some people then disagreed with us, and they stopped donating. I'm sure you've dealt with that too. So what? So what? Go ahead.
It took a lot for him to say no to them, and it took a lot for him to be honest about the fact that his opinions had evolved. And
See, one of the things that bothers me here is people speaking for Charlie, who's obviously deceased. People who pretend they know every aspect of this guy in his life. They don't. I knew him better than Megyn did. No offense. And so do many, many others. So do many, many others. People are free to move their investments around, their donations around, their charities around. So what is that indicative of? If they disagree with him on something, so what? Go ahead.
It's like an unofficial spokesperson for the youth of America, in particular conservative youth. And I don't know if people have checked.
Let's stop a second. Charlie had a large voice and following. Huge. He was never a prophet. He will tell you he's never a prophet. That's blasphemous. He's not an unofficial spokesman for the youth of America. He ran an organization that became huge, and he speaks for many people who support his perspectives. That's all good. That's important. That's an enormous accomplishment because most people don't get there. But I don't know, an unofficial spokesman for the youth of America? Am I an unofficial spokesman for the middle-aged men of America? I mean, can we be mature about these discussions? Charlie Kirk was a fantastic human being, a wonderful human being, who had an enormous influence, who had an enormous impact. Isn't that great? I think it's great. But don't create these sides, these battles. Here we have these Jews who decided not to donate. Well, just say it, Megyn. Decided not to donate because they disagree with him because he changed his opinion, and he was an unofficial spokesman for the young people in America. This is why I find you to be getting really more and more preposterous. You're sounding like the people you hang out with. And that's okay. If that's what you want to do, it's okay. But doesn't mean I have to pretend otherwise. Go ahead.
They no longer support Israel. And everybody under 30 is against Israel.
All right, right there. Everyone under 30 is against Israel. That's the clip that was put out, I guess by Carlson or somebody. That's the clip. Everyone under 30 is against Israel. Everyone. I said, how stupid and disgusting is that BS? Everyone under 30 is against Israel. I could get thousands of people to call this program now who are under 30 who are not against Israel. But even more to the point, we've got this little cabal that just keeps beating up Israel, beating up Netanyahu, beating up their policies, and just going on and on and on. And then they go, look at this. Everybody's against Israel. Of course, they're pushing this. And then when you call them out, they say, no, I'm for Israel. I'm just against what they're doing in Gaza. I'm just against Netanyahu. I'm just whatever. I'm on to this BS. Now, I've played enough of the context here. I'm not going to play her whole show. But she did say everyone under 30 is against Israel. Did she not, Mr. Producer? So now apparently this is yesterday, and this offended her. Offended her enormously. Boy, I hope she never has to sit in my chair, staying in my shoes. I get a lot more hits than that. That's mild. It's not even a hit. It's a fact that I pointed out that that's BS. When you make a statement like that, it's an absurdity. Everyone under 30 is against Israel. Now, we know a lot of people under 30 are against Israel. In fact, I'm going to go to another piece in which they make the point that Carlson is purposely pushing as many young people as he can against Israel. I don't disagree with that. And it has an effect. I don't disagree with that. And it has an alarming effect. I don't disagree with that. That's not what she said. Everybody under 30 is against Israel. Now, on its face, that's stupid. But let's go. Cut 2, go. This is yesterday.
Before I get to Abe Greenwald, Mark Levin, to whom I've always been very nice, very kind. I have had no problem with Mark Levin. I see him arguing with everybody online. It's not my fight.
No, I don't argue with everybody online. Just the cabal and just leftists. There she goes again. I argue with everybody online. Everybody under 30. Now, I believe she's a lawyer. Now, she spends most of her life in broadcasting and entertainment. I got it. Everybody is fighting with Mark Levin. Everybody under 30. Everybody is against Israel. Now, how dumb are these comments? Seriously. Megyn, I'm trying to help you. Don't take it so personally. I'm trying to help you. Go ahead.
That segment, a piece of it, where I said everybody under 30 is against Israel, with Tucker, and says such disgusting bullshit, sick and getting sicker. They continue to reveal themselves. What is he talking about? It's not disgusting. There was an article in the New York Post just the other day. More than 60% of American Gen Z supports Hamas over Israel.
Whoa. More than 60% supports Hamas. So everyone's against Israel? Under 30? I mean, seriously, Mr. Ritter, is this, like, bizarre? So that means 40% aren't? No, it's everyone. Don't you get it? Everyone. Go ahead.
Just released a poll. I mean, days ago. Only about 1 in 10 adults under the age of 35 say they approve of Israel's military choices in Gaza. 1 in 10 adults under age 35. What I said was exactly right.
No, what you said was exactly wrong. This is one poll. I don't know how this was described, but you're even wrong about this. Now, if you had cited these polls and said, look at this, there's a problem, 60% here, 1 in 6, fine. Who cares? I would never said a word. That's not what you said, is it? Now you're scrapping together. Hey, staff, let's pull all the polls together, as many as we can here, and let's use those polls, and let's prove I'm right, that the Israelis are underwater with everyone under 30, under 30. But that's not what you did the week before. If you had done that the week before, you would have been right about what you said. But you didn't say that, did you, Megyn? Go ahead.
There is no cause for Mark Levin to be attacking me or Tucker over that discussion.
Oh, not attack. There's no cause for me to attack Tucker? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're a special pleader for Tucker. That's my point, too. There's no cause for me to attack Tucker. I expose Tucker. But I'm sorry if I offended. You guys can attack Jews and donors, everybody under 30, then say, but I'm not attacking Israel. You don't understand. I'm not attacking Israel. We all hear. We all see. It's okay. Go ahead.
People have been asking me to name names. Like, who's attacking you? Because I said, like, but you get attacked if you... I'm going to name some names here. Mark Levin is one of them. Shame on him.
Oh, no, please. Please. She used my name, Mr. Reducer? So painful. She used to love me, you know. She used to love me. It's very upsetting. Go ahead. Is that it? Yes,
like Charlie felt, you get no credit for being an open supporter of Israel. How many times did I say I am?
Whoa. This has nothing to do with Charlie, sweetie. It has nothing to do with Charlie. It has to do with you. Okay? Stop throwing around Charlie's name. Stop projecting onto Charlie. Just like Charlie. No, I'm talking about you. You. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, I have a question for you. Do you believe America's best days are still ahead? With the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence coming up in less than a year, my friends at the Heritage Foundation are taking stock of the current situation, and they need your input. They've launched a survey on America's future to gauge how Americans feel right now about where we are as a nation and where we're headed in the next 250 years. You know, for decades, your American values have been under attack, but now, with President Trump's administration in office, we have an opportunity to turn the tide and usher in a new golden age for America. But the Heritage Foundation needs to hear from you. What policies do patriots like you most care about? What do you believe are the defining principles of America? What legacy do you believe we should pass on to the next generation? Please visit heritage.org/Levin today and share your feedback and help shape the future of America. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. All right. I want to get to an article, and then we'll close this circle on this. Let's see here. All right. Stick with me, folks. Stick with me. We're live in the National here. The New York Post. There it is. I have an excellent writer, David Harsanyi. He says, on Wednesday night, a Turning Point USA event at Virginia Tech, honoring the late Charlie Kirk, took an ugly turn. A male student stood up to ask popular podcaster Megyn Kelly if she was concerned about the growing unseemly influence of rich billionaire Jews on American politics. Did you say rich billionaire Jews? An incredulous Kelly responded, yes, the questioner said, and if this was a completely normal topic to bring up. It's just one more example of the abnormal fixation younger Americans have on Israel and Jews. You see, here's my point. It's not that everyone under 30 is hostile to Israel. That misses the point. The point is there's a growing number of young people who have an enormous hatred for Israel. We have talked about this in our colleges and universities. So the way you take a discussion like that, if you're serious about it, is, why is this? And their response, the cabal, is because of Israel, because of the way Israel's waging war, because of Israel this and is. No, that's not why. That's not why at all. The young man seemed to be allied with the progressive left, which has long flirted with this kind of rhetoric. But similar comments are increasingly spreading on the right as well, even in the glare of the public spotlight. Just the other day, disgraced former Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who's developed a creepy, maniacal obsession with Jews, urged Kirk's otherwise inspiring memorial in Arizona to suggest that, or used it, a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus in Jerusalem had something to do with silencing the late leader. TPUSA leader. The statement seemed tailor-made to create division between Jews and Christians, and there are people who are trying to do that right now. Yet no one who participated in Kirk's funeral tribute condemned our modern-day Charles Coughlin. Popular Carlson would be heading future events for TPUSA. I want to pick up where I left off. So what you would normally do, for instance, is to say, wait a minute, why is this happening? Not with all Americans, but this particular group. Why is it? Because it's intentional. That's why. I'll be right back. We're coming upon the 250th birthday of the United States, and it has me thinking, what will America look like 250 years from now? My friends at the Heritage Foundation want to know what you think. What policies should America prioritize? What principles should carry us into the decades ahead? As America enters a new golden age, Heritage recognizes that this is the time to take stock and to be intentional about how we shape the future of America. And they can't do it without your input. So please go to heritage.org/LEVIN and let them know what you think is important. Without patriots like you stepping up and speaking up for what you believe in, America as we know it can't survive for for another 250 years. Please go to heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin. Take the survey on America's future. This survey takes less than 10 minutes to complete, but it is critical for making sure that the America we pass on to future generations is an America we're proud of. Go to heritage.org/Levin today. That's heritage.org/Levin. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Mark Levin, America's Paul Revere. Call him now at 877-381-3811.
David Harsanyi's piece in the New York Post, he noted when Carlson did what he did and said what he said at this solemn event, honoring, Charlie Kirk for his enormous presence and the wonderful things that he did. He said no one who participated in Kirk's funeral tribute condemned our modern-day Charles Coughlin. And the popular Carlson will be heading future events for TPUSA. This is why I posted, I hope Turning Point doesn't get sucked into this. I really do. I really do. It's one thing to have had him as a participant from time to time. It's quite another to move the organization in this direction. I think as time goes on, I think it'll be viewed as a huge mistake. It is. And was it you, Mr. Producer? You can open your mic. Who told me that our friend Megyn Kelly is going on some kind of tour with Carlson in White Plains? Is that a tour or a one-night event? You don't know. It's not a tour. It's a one-night event. I don't have a problem with that. People can have an event with whomever they want. The fact that some people take notice shouldn't be attacked either. The facts rarely dissuade conspiracy theorists, he writes. It's objectively false to contend the Jewish people have an outside influence on the Trump administration. Here's the list of President Trump's top 12 donors in 2024, according to Forbes: Timothy Mellon, Linda McMahon, Diane Hendricks, Miriam Adelson, Kelsey Warren, Timothy Dunn, Richard Uhine, Jeff Spriker, Kelly Loeffler, Phil Rufin, Jimmy John, Antonio Gracious, and Douglas Leon. Only one of those billionaires is Jewish. There were, as far as I can tell, 4 other Jewish donors in the top 25. You may have noticed that paranoid Israel haters on the right are fixated on billionaires like Larry Ellison and Bill Ackman, a longtime Democrat who defected to the GOP in part because of the left's embrace of Hamas apologists, not Elon Musk or Vivek Ramaswamy or Peter Thiel or many others. Carlson, for instance, blamed Fox News personality, I guess that's me, and radio host Mark Levin for convincing Trump to bomb Iranian nuclear sites. Indeed, the podcaster assured his credulous audience that Levin was leading the United States in the World War III at the behest of foreigners. We expect this kind of aspersion from the progressive left, not alleged conservatives. One can say many things about Donald Trump, but the notion that his positions can be bought by campaign funds stretches credulity. Besides, no one needs to buy Trump's support for Israel, considering he's been on the record vocal champion of the Jewish state for nearly 40 years. When Trump this week met on the sidelines, the UN General Assembly, with French President Macron, who had just rewarded Hamas with unilateral recognition of an imaginary Palestinian state, he made his position known. Quote, "Well, I have to say that I'm on the side of Israel," Trump said. "I've been on the side of Israel really my whole life." It's difficult to argue that any president has been a better friend. Trump was offering pro-Israel statements years before he was in political office, years before he had any donors, years before Benjamin Netanyahu, the boogeyman of Jew baiters, was Israel's prime minister. It is also objectively false that American Jews are an ideological monolith. He said, "I've spent 20 years publicly disagreeing with numerous Jewish American organizations and individuals." And anybody who listens to this show sure as hell knows I have too, by the way. And he said, "I can assure you we don't have secret meetings to plot control of the world." He says, "I never met a Jewish billionaire." Jews, though, are the only ethnic group that is collectively smeared as fifth columnists for advocating for causes they believe in. One of the popular issues among many American Jews is championing the long-standing U.S. alliance with Israel, a wholly moral, constructive, defensible position that many individuals and groups openly advocate. And by the way, they're not all Jewish. The institution that it's nefarious, or the insinuation, rather, that it's nefarious to do so is only peddled by bigots, unwilling or unable to debate the issue in good faith. It's clear that the stigma associated with spreading ugly tropes about Jews is disappearing. It's been that way in the conspiratorial swamp of social media and podcasting for a while. Now it's being normalized in the real world. See, that's the problem, Megyn. And that's the problem with the guys you're hanging out with, especially Catarles. And pardon me if I notice. And no, everyone under 30 does not reject Israel. Too many do. And part of that's due to, as Harsani points out here, people like Catarles and others who push this agenda. That's right. And I suspect if TPUSA is sort of exploited by the Catarlesons and others and continue to be pushed in this direction, there are going to be a lot more donors who walk away. So it's very important that the organization stick by its mission, stick by Charlie's views, stick with the pro-American agenda, the faith agenda, and it'll be very successful, I believe, because his wife, Erica, is obviously a fantastic young lady who I've met several times. Don't know her well, but met her several times. Charlie I knew well. And, it's sort of this Candace Owens stuff. And Nick Fuentes stuff. I don't see a whole big deal difference between them and Catarles. So if you're going to hang around with him and platform with him and defend him, then, you make your bed. That's the way it goes. Some people notice, like me. Everybody. Mark's fighting with everybody. Actually, I'm not. No, you don't understand. Everybody who matters to her. Oh, I'm sorry. The left is waging a sustained domestic terror campaign against the Trump presidency. And Rich Lowry is 100% correct. And he says Donald Trump's second term has been met with a sustained low-level campaign of domestic terrorism. 100% correct. It's mostly involved relatively minor property damage amid much more consequential acts. But the pattern of violence meant to achieve anti-Trump political goals has been unmistakable. He said, I thought Trump's second election would be met with rioting in the streets and serious threats against cabinet officials. Instead, we got the vibe shift, with the initial political reaction against Trump relatively muted compared to the 2016 period. Once the administration got underway, though, the violent resistance began. First, it was the campaign against Tesla. Anti-Elon Musk agitators torched and otherwise vandalized vehicles, fired shots, threw Molotov cocktails at dealerships, and damaged charging stations. This wasn't terrorism on the level of ISIS, not even close, but it clearly met the textbook definition of terrorism as violence in furtherance of a political or social objective. Then the anti-ISIS assaults ramped up. There have been riots outside ICE facility, again today, by the way, as well as incendiary attacks and shootings. The craziest incidents prior to September 24th sniper attack in Dallas, a group of agitators dressed in black military-style clothing began shooting fireworks and spraying graffiti at an ICE detention facility in Alvarado, Texas in July. According to officials, this was a ploy meant to draw ICE officers out of the facility to ambush them. One attacker hiding in the woods shot a responding police officer in the neck. He survived, thank God, while another assailant fired 20 or more rounds at correctional officers who had strayed outside the building. When they were arrested, some of the agitators were wearing body armor and two-way radios. The attack emanated from a Dallas-area anti-fascist network. Isn't it funny these fascists call themselves anti-fascist? Less than a week later, an armed man tried to shoot his way into a Border Patrol annex in McAllen, Texas, before getting shot dead. The waves of anti-Tesla, anti-ICE violence were precipitated, respectively, by a libertarian billionaire trying to reduce the number of federal workers and cut foreign aid, and a federal agency detaining immigrants or living and working in the country illegally, some who have committed other serious crimes. These activities can evoke a violent response. Just imagine if the country experiences a true crisis. In both cases, regarding Doge, the height of the ice, and at ICE now, Democratic office holders and progressive opinion makers whipped up an apocalyptic frenzy. The fevered rhetoric has been accompanied by peaceful protests, civil disobedience, and, at the margin, zealots and the disaffected lashing out violently. When these events are put against the context of the assassination of a MAGA leader like Charlie Kirk and last year's 2 assassination attempts against President Trump, the picture is stark, a persistent, if wholly unorganized effort to use violence to frustrate Trump's policy goals and, in the extreme instance, to end the project entirely by killing him. Killing him. But what is to be done? Since none of the violence is directed from above and the perpetrators don't know each other and have divergent motivations, it's hard to see how it stops. Certainly help if the Democrats acknowledge the legitimacy of Trump and what he's trying to do, even if they strenuously oppose him and his policies, but they're never going to cease believing that we are on the cusp of a fascist dystopia. The legacy media should also acknowledge what we're experiencing. Now, they're involved in it. If a Kamala Harris presidency had been met with attacks against Mark Cuban businesses and arson and shootings at abortion clinics, as well as ideologically motivated murder of a top Harris supporter, we'd be at DEFCON 2 type national emergency in terms of the press coverage. There's nothing like getting used to things, Abraham Lincoln said of the threatening letters he received once he rose to prominence. But we shouldn't have to get used to violence as a means of influencing our policies. And Rich is right on. He's right on. Oh, yeah. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, I have a question for you. Do you believe America's best days are still ahead? With the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence coming up in less than a year, my friends at the Heritage Foundation are taking stock of the current situation, and they need your input. They've launched a survey on America's future to gauge how Americans feel right now about where we are as a nation and where we're headed in the next 250 years. You know, for decades, your American values have been under attack, but now, with President Trump's administration in office, we have an opportunity to turn the tide and usher in a new golden age for America. But the Heritage Foundation needs to hear from you. What policies do patriots like you most care about? What do you believe are the defining principles of America? What legacy do you believe we should pass on to the next generation? Please visit heritage.org/Levin today and share your feedback and help shape the future of America. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. By the way, 2 great Life, Liberty, and Levin programs this weekend. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Set your DVR. We have Brandon Tatum. I love this guy. He was an Arizona police officer. He's got a podcast, was on Salem for a good period of time. Brandon Tatum. And our buddy Douglas Murray. One of the most brilliant people I've ever met. I haven't met him in person, I don't think, but I've ever talked to. So you want to check that out. And, of course, my opening. And my opening is going to be all about free speech, the First Amendment. This guy, Kimmel, I don't think this has been addressed properly, and I want to address it. And I think you're going to be very intrigued by what I have to say. And then Sunday night, same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Colonel Richard Kemp. He was the commander of British forces in Afghanistan, things he has to say about Starmer and Britain and what they're doing. And Richard Goldberg is just superb. He's served in both President Trump's administrations for short periods, as he has another job that he keeps, and is superb on national security. So those are 2 shows with great guests, and you're going to hear great monologues. That's Brandon Tatum, Douglas Murray tomorrow night, and Colonel Kemp and Richard Goldberg Sunday night. Again, what I'll be discussing Sunday night is Comey. You know, we have a lot of these former federal prosecutors are up there, and I guess they all read each other, talk to each other. Well, there's a weak case. The problem we have in this case is not the case. The problem we have in this case is the judge. Somehow, a Biden judge got the case, Mr. Producer. A Biden judge got the case in Alexandria. I've been in that courtroom many times, Eastern District of Virginia. And also, the juries have changed over the decades since I've been here. I'm not even here as much as I used to be, as my residence is in the great free state of Florida. But that said, it's much more Democrat and bureaucrat than it was when I was first here. I think I moved here in 2002. Holy mackerel, whatever that is. But you get the point. But it's better than D.C. in terms of the political ideology. So it's not so much the case is weak. It's that you're going to have a tough judge here. Of course, all the weak cases against Trump, the case is weak. You know, the media never said stuff like that. What are you bringing in, the 1871 Ku Klux Klan Act? I mean, come on. Then, of course, the judge in Florida, great Judge Cannon, she blew out the whole case there. Oh, many of these same former federal prosecutors, that's a slam dunk case. Trump's going to have that, Trump that. I said, no, that's not exactly right. And we unraveled it. And also the legal foundation that I worked for decades, Landmark Legal Foundation. I was president and chairman, and now I'm emeritus. You know what emeritus means, Mr. Producer? You can put my name on the, on the stationery. It's run by a great president there, Pete Hutchison. And they filed a friend of court, an amicus brief, with one of the greatest experts on the issue of presidential appointments. He's a law professor. And my former boss, the Attorney General of the United States, the great Ed Meese, and another Attorney General, Mukasey, great man, they filed their own brief. And they were represented by two of my former colleagues from the United States Department of Justice. And then, of course, the president's lawyers did a great job, too. She threw it out, the whole case. Violation of the Appointments Clause, which is what we argued and exactly what it was. But here it's, my God, false statement. McCabe said what he said after the fact. He said that Comey knew that he was leaking, but only authorized it after the fact. We can't believe McCabe. We have an Inspector General report from 2018 that says he's not believable. Well, we have an Inspector General report from 2019 that I read, and I talk about this, and I will, on Sunday, that talks about all of Comey's leaks and his purloining documents that he wasn't supposed to take. And his law professor buddy, who he directed to leak something to the New York Times, and an article was written about that. I get into all that. Don't give me this Comey crap. And if you read the indictment carefully, number 1, they talk about leaks in the plural. So it's not just related to this McCabe incident, even though they point that out too. But it's broader than that. So you'll learn a lot, I think, that counters what a lot of these former federal prosecutors, what they're saying. This is where the truth is stated with energy and courage, not for the faint of heart. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, hold on now, I'm looking something up for a reason to share with you. Let's see. Sorry. Oh. Our number is 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. I don't know what the Saudi al-Hadath is. I'm told it's in Saudi Arabian News Interactive Channel. According to a post, so I cannot verify any of this. I'm just talking out loud as if we're at the dinner table. Rylan Givens posted this, citing the Saudi Al-Hadath publication. And it says here, just in, the Saudi Al-Hadath published the full details of Trump's plan to end the war in Gaza immediately. Again, I've given you the caveats twice. I'll give it to you the third time. I don't know about the accuracy of this, so let's just play along. Ready, Mr. Producer? Release all Israeli hostages. Release thousands of Palestinian prisoners, including 100 to 200 lifers. The introduction of immediate and unlimited aid through the United Nations and international organizations, and the closure of the humanitarian fund in Gaza. The humanitarian fund has actually been feeding the people. As you know, UNRWA and the UN have participated in terrorism and have not fed the people. The collection of Hamas weapons by an Arab and international force. A U.S. commitment not to allow Israel to annex Judea and Samaria. I'm not sure what that has to do with anything. A gradual Israeli withdrawal from the Strip according to a timetable. An international Arab entity will administer Gaza after the war for a limited period at the invitation of the Palestinian Authority. To me, that's a non-starter. Abbas is a killer. He's a terrorist. He's one of the worst. The president knows this. So I hope that's not right. A Palestinian committee will be established to manage Gaza affairs, to be elected by the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian forces will ensure security in Gaza under Arab and international supervision. Again, I have no idea if this is true. This seems almost unimaginable to me, but I'm sure this is a non-starter for the Israeli government. Do I know? No, but I have to assume. I'm not done. An unmanned security corridor perimeter will be established around Gaza between 500 and 1,000 meters wide. Gaza will be reconstructed using Arab and international funds. The reconstruction will take more than 5 years and will be managed by an international Arab association. Hamas leaders will be offered amnesty in exchange for their withdrawal from Gaza and surrender of weapons. I don't know what that means. Are they going to be imprisoned? Are they going to be held to account? The state of Palestine will take control of Gaza after a specified period. The state of Palestine. There will be a call for the resumption of direct negotiations between Israel and Palestine. There's at least 3 or 4 things in here that to me are non-starters. Now let's go to what the president posted. I'm reading the tea leaves as much as you are, folks. Let's see here. All right, give me a second. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Here we are. And so the president posted the following. He says, I'm pleased to report that we are having very inspired and productive discussions with the Middle Eastern community concerning Gaza. Intense negotiations have been going on for 4 days and will continue for as long as necessary in order to get a successfully completed agreement. All the countries within the region are involved. Hamas is very much aware of these discussions, and Israel has been informed at all levels, including Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. And I wrote, Israel has been informed or is participating? Because that's a strange way to put it, is it not, Rich? Israel has been informed. Now, it's Israel's troops that are dying there. It's Israel that's been fighting this. It's Israel's people who've been attacked. I would think, and I hope, that they're participating. They're not merely informed. There is more goodwill, the president said, and enthusiasm for getting a deal done after so many decades than I've ever seen before. Everyone is excited to put this period of death and darkness behind them. It is an honor to be part of this negotiation. We must get the hostages back. Hold on here. Just bear with me. And that's where it cuts off for me. I can't. Oh, back and get a permanent and long-lasting peace. Well, the Israelis have to make sure it is permanent. So we will see. You know, the president had a meeting when he spoke at the UN and gave that tremendous speech. And it was with all these Arab leaders. Israel wasn't there. Netanyahu was flying to the United Nations in a circuitous route that had to avoid French and British airspace. Because if they force down his plane, France in particular has said that they will imprison him. Because of the International Criminal Court, which we don't recognize and they don't recognize. They would imprison Netanyahu. So I put that out there. I've posted it. Anybody is free in the administration to call me and tell me that it's wrong or right or whatever. So we will see what all this means. I've just posted it. I don't know if the Israelis are still being informed or actually have a role participating in it. I mean, after all, they've lost like 1,000 soldiers, which would be the equivalent. They have 9 million people there. 9 million people. So it would be the equivalent of us losing almost 40,000 soldiers, Mr. Producer. We shall see if this is what the president is excited about, if this is what the president is proposing. We shall see. Or if this is just an Arab news organization putting this out and it's on the internet. Like I said, I have no way of confirming any of it, but I am putting it out there. Because the Saudis have put it out there. So there you have it. President said outside the White House today, cut 3, you're going to hear some helicopter noise behind you. Go.
It's looking like we have a deal on Gaza. And we'll let you know.
What I don't understand when it looks like we have a deal on Gaza, what I don't understand is you're informing the Israelis, or are they participating and agreeing to things? It's hard to know. How do you have a deal if they're not involved? I don't think Netanyahu is the kind of leader who's just going to capitulate, even under enormous pressure from us. That's my guess. Go ahead.
The hostage is back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal. That'll be number 8, Peter. Not bad.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't count it yet. You know, you're dealing with the Middle East. You're dealing with a lot of parties there. That would be number 8. We shall see. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
When was the last time you bragged about your wireless company? Like, did you know my wireless company gave away 1,000 American flags to deserving vets and forgave $10 million in veteran debt? Did you know my wireless company raised almost $500,000 to help prevent veteran suicide? In other words, when your wireless company is Pure Talk, there's a whole lot to brag about. You can even brag about the coverage you get with Pure Talk, a 5G network that is insanely fast, dependable, and secure. And you can definitely brag about how much money you save with Pure Talk. Unlimited talk, text, plenty of data. Just $25 a month, saving the average family over $1,000 a year. It's time to switch to my favorite wireless company, Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin and save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, puretalk.com/LEVIN. Make the switch today. Pure Talk. Wireless worth bragging about. Again, I want to repeat what I've posted and what I've told you. It comes out of a Saudi news agency. So I don't know if it's accurate or not, but we can play along here, can't we? And the comments have been almost universally in strong opposition. For example, so Israel stops the war, releases thousands more maniacs, Hamas breaks every promise, and the countdown to the next war begins. Next, Hamas will almost certainly refuse this deal, probably with the same yes, but routine. If they don't, Hamas' position will collapse, and Gaza is far, far more dire. Next, I can't believe that that Trump is depending so much on the Palestinian Authority to take control of Gaza. And again, I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that's the report. He knows the PA is corrupt, that most Palestinians support Hamas, and the PA hasn't had an election in 22 years. No one has the right to tell Israel what to do. Next, this is a joke, right, Mr. President? Who TF wrote this BS proposal? Israel is expected to accept a terror state in the heart of Jerusalem, withdraw from Gaza, and let Arabs rebuild their terror base. What the hell happened? Well, I won't say what they said to him. It's not clear to me what Israel gains from any such agreement. The next one says, here's the next, there's no such thing as a partial PA involvement. If they're involved, they will be in charge, which essentially means Hamas will not leave governance because they are part of the PA government. This is why Netanyahu swore up and down from the beginning that he won't have Gaza be Hamas or Fatah because they are one and the same. Next, there's no state of Palestine. That's the thing that shocked me as well. There's no state of Palestine, and there won't be one. Next, I don't believe that is the U.S. plan at all. Number 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 11 are outrageous. Next, I don't think we'll get past the first item. Next, this is me reading the comments. There's no way this is the plan. Did Hamas write it? Next, the U.S. commitment not to allow Israel to annex Judea and Samaria? No, I hope it fails. Next, what happens when Hamas inevitably declines? Next, if true, it's horrible. Israel gets the hostages, maybe, but otherwise Hamas and the Palestinian Authority win in the end. Next, I'm reading them as they are. I can't believe anything that refers to them as Hams multiple time. Next, just look at the Palestinian track record. What's not to trust? Next, no exclamation. There's nothing less than kicking the can down the road again. That's irrelevant. Next. I don't want to read that one. I can't read cuss words. Next. I can't imagine Israel ever agreeing to this. Looks like they are the ones conceding everything again. Next. What about the clauses relating to when it turns out that the Gazans aren't actually doing their part, which they won't? Next. So that's not the end of the war, just kicking the can down the road if that's all true. Next. No effing way. This so-called proposal is dunk. Next. Arab troops in Gaza? F-16s, F-35s, helicopters, tanks? Please, I won't read that. Next. This is the Barack Ravid plan, LOL, not true. Hope you're right. Next. Can't believe this is Trump's peace plan. What's in the fine print? Next. Jordan is Palestine. Next. There should be a total non-starter, no PA in Gaza ever. Next. No way. Next. Can't read that one. This is an Israeli surrender agreement. Next. Hamas said they never give up their weapons and leave Gaza. It's a cult, remember? They're ready to die for 72 versions. So no way they will agree to this deal. Next. Oh, hell no. If this is the deal and Bibi takes it, he sucks. Next. Arabs equal Arabs and Abraham Accords? Not sure what that means. Next. If this is true, it's a clear betrayal. Next, bad idea. Next, Israel should never agree to this insanity. It's one after another, folks. Next, this is a lie. I hope so. Next, this must be a lie. Next, madness. Next, excuse me, unlimited aid? Next, disgusting. Terror wins. Next, this is so one-sided. Next, no. Next one is curse. I won't say it. Next, this deal would cement October 7 as a major diplomatic victory for the Palestinian cause. Next, no! Exclamation. Next, only a damn fool would agree to this. Now, these are not just Jews. These are Gentiles. Many people writing this. All right. Nope. I haven't read... can't read these, and they're all one after another, very negative about this. Now, I'm hoping this is just Saudi propaganda. I think I've said this 7 times, right, Rich? And we'll keep it in the recording in case people try to put words in my mouth. So we shall see. I don't like the language that was put out on True Social where the Israelis have been informed, including Bibi Netanyahu. It's not about informing. Informing is telling them what you're going to do. So you can't have 27 Arab countries or whatever it is, and Israel's not involved. They are a sovereign nation. It's hard for some people to understand this. They are a sovereign nation. And if this is a deal or something like this, and I don't know that it is, the Saudis put it out, then that sovereign nation, if they think it's going to affect their sovereignty, can and should reject it. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not surmising. I am putting information out that the Saudis have put out, and I'm addressing that. That's what I'm doing. It's never a quiet day around here, is it, Mr. Producer? The Argentine president, you might say, why is he so pro-Israel? Because he was raised, in many respects, by a Jewish family. He's not Jewish. He's not. And he is very pro-America, very pro-Trump, very pro-Netanyahu in Israel. The Hungarian president, who's always under attack, is a right-winger. Yeah, we got it. He's another one, very pro-Israel. Why? Because he's very anti-Islamist. You can see this guy, Tommy Richards, in Britain. What's that? Robinson, I meant. Sorry. In Britain. Another one, he's a right-winger. No, he's not. He wants to defend his country, his country's culture, and so forth. Very pro-Israel. But I want to play something to you that I find very, very bizarre, and then I'm going to tell you who said it. Levin, Mr. Producer, go.
The Middle East, there is no Middle East. We know that. There's tribes, there's villages. The nation state was created by the British and the French in 1916. The Sykes-Picot said, okay, we're going to take what was the Ottoman Empire, and we're going to draw straight lines around it, and we're going to call these nation states. But the Middle East doesn't work that way. It starts with an individual, then family, then village, then tribe, then community, then religion. Lastly, it's what this nation is. So when I say it's an illusion, to think that somehow we're going to get 27 different nations that have 110 different ethnic groups to align with political concepts, what will they align with? Make my life and my children's life better.
All right, this is the envoy, Tom Barak, an ambassador, I guess, to Turkey. This guy's a disaster. Absolute disaster. And so we're not going to recognize any nations there? I don't know where he's coming from, but this guy is a complete disaster. He's been a disaster. The public comments he makes are disastrous. But there he is, floating around the Middle East. I'll be right back. When was the last time you bragged about your wireless company? Like, did you know my wireless company gave away 1,000 American flags to deserving vets and forgave $10 million in veteran debt? Did you know my wireless company raised almost $500,000 to help prevent veteran suicide? In other words, when your wireless company is Pure Talk, there's a whole lot to brag about. You can even brag about the coverage you get with Pure Talk, a 5G network that is insanely fast, dependable, and secure. And you can definitely brag about how much money you save with Pure Talk. Unlimited talk, text, plenty of data. Just $25 a month, saving the average family over $1,000 a year. It's time to switch to my favorite wireless company, Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin and save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, puretalk.com/LEVIN. Make the switch today. Pure Talk. Wireless worth bragging about.
Mark Levin, an unapologetic patriot and unapologetic constitutionalist. You can reach him at 877-381-3811.
Now, this is a report on Friday evening from CNN. Let's see here if my link works. Ew, it does. President Trump asked Supreme Court to decide whether he can end birthright citizenship. Now, you might recall there was a decision to be made by the Supreme Court related to, among other things, these nationwide injunctions. And part of that, one of the issues had to deal with birthright citizenship. And even the court said, you're here, why didn't you raise it? Some of the justices said. Other justices said, well, let's take it up anyway. And then a third level of justices said, nah, it's not to be discussed unless they raise it specifically. Well, now it's been raised. The Trump administration asked the Supreme Court today to review the constitutionality of the president's executive order seeking to end birthright citizenship, pushing the issue before the justices for the second time this year. Now, the way CNN writes this, you can tell that they have no interest in being honest. Despite more than a century of understanding that the 14th Amendment confers citizenship on people born in the United States. And where did that come from? That century of understanding. Anybody know? Nobody knows. It's not in any statute. It's not in the Constitution. It became an interpretive way of looking at it, but that's it. The Trump administration told the court in an appeal the notion was mistaken and that the view became pervasive with destructive consequences. They said the lower court's decisions invalidated a policy of prime importance to the president and his administration in a manner that undermines our border security, wrote Solicitor General John Sauer, who's done an excellent job. The administration's top appellate attorney, that would be the solicitor. Those decisions confer without lawful justification the privilege of American citizenship on hundreds of thousands of unqualified people. And so they even point out, while the Supreme Court handed down an important decision in June that dealt with birthright citizenship, the case was technically focused on a more procedural question of how much power lower courts had to stop a policy implemented by a president, as I pointed out, these nationwide injunctions. The ruling was 6-3 that the courts did not have this power, the lower courts. And so the substantive issue was not addressed in that brief, and hence was not resolved in that brief. And now it's been specifically raised. Good idea. I'm very concerned about it, not on a constitutional basis, because I think it is unconstitutional. Or let me put it differently, I think it is constitutional for the administration to say that this thing called birthright citizenship has no legal or constitutional basis. I've also told you I think the way it'll wind up, and I pray I'm wrong, I really do, is that they'll say that this has been something that's gone on for a century, that it is sort of enshrined in our system, and hence fill in the blank. Or maybe find some weasel words to try and make the application. That's certainly what the left will do. And you can also imagine the pushback. Here's the thing. This violence and these threats, and you saw it in the opinion involving abortion, and you've seen it in some of these other cases, that the left seeks to destroy the Supreme Court, destroy its independence, do other things when they don't get their way. So if the court were to rule as I say they should rule, if they follow the Constitution, they know that they'll take more crap than is imaginable. And they also know that if they just support the status quo, even though the status quo does not have a constitutional leg to stand on, it's the course of least resistance. So we've now reached a point where these threats and violence, I think, actually do influence the court. Or may. In any event, we shall see. I certainly hope not. At issue are two of several lower court rulings that have held up implementation of Trump's policy since the High Court's more procedural ruling this summer. Have held up, not upheld, by the way. It's just poorly worded. In July, a San Francisco-based federal appeals court upheld a Seattle judge's ruling that blocked Trump's policy nationwide in a case brought by a group of Democratic-led states. That's attorneys general. Separate decision issued earlier that month by a judge in New Hampshire barred enforcement of Trump's order against any babies who would be impacted by the policy in a class action suit brought by the American Criminal Liberties Union. And so the appeal was filed on Friday. I think what they're saying here is, okay, let's get beyond some of these appellate courts and get right to the Supreme Court. The New Hampshire case was, in fact, appealed to the Federal Appeals Court in Boston. That court hasn't weighed in yet. And so there's the effort by the court to say, Supreme Court, you're going to have to decide this ultimately anyway. Why don't we just go here and get this resolved? We'll see what happens. The Wong Kim Ark decision recognized citizenship for people born in the United States who enjoyed permanent domicile and residence in the country, said Sauer, the U.S. Solicitor General, and he's right. It's also a very poor decision. That limit, Sauer wrote, was central to the analysis. But those arguments had no purchase in the lower courts thus far. The Ninth Circuit said in a 2-1 decision that Trump's order contradicts the citizenship clause of the Constitution, the Wong Kim Ark, and decades of executive branch practice. I told you, this practice stuff is what they're going to look at, and they will try and take this Wong Kim Ark decision, which has nothing to do with the bulk of the people that the president's talking about. He's just talking about illegal aliens who come into the country with no connections or anybody else and have children. Now, by the way, how absurd is that as a practical matter? How nuts is that? I don't think there's another country on the face of the earth that does that. And certainly there's no statutory basis for this, because Congress would never pass such a bill, even with the left. They wouldn't have enough votes. They'd be filibustered in the Senate. And yet, it's, woe is me. Woe is me. It'll be a great day. Could be a very dangerous day. Hate to say it. That will weigh on some of the justices' minds. Maybe Roberts, maybe Barrett. I don't know. But there's no such thing as birthright citizenship. It's a concoction. You know, it's a funny thing. People are splitting hairs on the Comey stuff. Well, was it before or after? Was it this, that, or that? And here, there's no basis for this birthright citizenship. This Wong Kim Ark decision. The reason the Supreme Court, it's a lousy decision. It's a political decision. The reason they ruled this way was because the Congress had passed some horrific racist laws against Chinese who'd come into the country. And so this was a way for the majority in the court to address that in a decision that really was not constitutionally based. And that's how we got this Wong Kim Ark decision. But now they've taken this Wong Kim Ark decision, which was the end of the 1800s. They've taken that decision and created this whole fiction, birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship. A phrase that doesn't exist in any federal statute and certainly doesn't exist in the 14th Amendment. They take this 14th Amendment and they twist it into a pretzel. They tried to use it to prevent the president from being on the ballot. They've tried to use it to prevent a debt ceiling. They've tried to use it now to promote birthright citizenship. 14th Amendment was an amendment that was passed after the Civil War, one of the three Civil War, so-called Civil War amendments, 13, 14, 15, and applied almost exclusively to the freeing of and free black slaves. It had nothing to do with all this other stuff. Nothing. Never. I welcome you to go and read it. By the way, Nexstar and Sinclair have now backed down. They will be carrying Jimmy Kimmel, so they'll be carrying his low ratings. People have said, look at that, you jacked up his rating. Yeah, but they'll start to simmer out. They'll start to go low again when the issue dies down, and the monotony will continue. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
When was the last time you bragged about your wireless company? Like, did you know my wireless company gave away 1,000 American flags to deserving vets and forgave $10 million in veteran debt? Did you know my wireless company raised almost $500,000 to help prevent veteran suicide? In other words, when your wireless company is Pure Talk, there's a whole lot to brag about. You can even brag about the coverage you get with Pure Talk, a 5G network that is insanely fast, dependable, and secure. And you can definitely brag about how much money you save with Pure Talk. Unlimited talk, text, plenty of data, Just $25 a month, saving the average family over $1,000 a year. It's time to switch to my favorite wireless company, Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin and save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, puretalk.com/LEVIN. Make the switch today. Pure Talk, wireless worth bragging about. You know, folks, you're my radio family. I have an older brother, one of the most decent human beings you could ever meet. And yet, 6'4", very muscular, healthy as can be, like the opposite of me, the way he eats and ate and so forth. And quiet, but loving, 2 wonderful kids. And strong as an ox, but never abused anybody. There's a period of time when he was a bouncer. A period of time when he was a boxer. Used to go to Joe Frazier's gym in North Philadelphia. Just telling you the truth, the only white guy in there. And got along with everybody. They loved him. And he's very ill. Very ill. And this week, in addition to all the rest of it, dealing with all the layers of bureaucracy, all the different disparate elements of the system. It's been horrendous. And yet there have been angels throughout. Certain doctors and nurses, caregivers, others, people, complete strangers. Gives you hope. It really does. It really does. Name is Doug. You'd love him. You'd love to meet him, love to know him. Fantastic person. Fantastic big brother. Big in every respect. Heart as big as imaginable. 2 beautiful kids. Boy and a girl. My nephew and my niece. Ours, I should say. Great kids. Just terrific. This is why I tell my kids, I tell everybody, you never know what somebody's going through. You just never do. You treat people with respect. If you go into a place and you get a steak sandwich and there's a waiter, you treat that waiter with respect. You treat that guy behind the counter who's cooking that steak sandwich with respect. You don't know what's going on in their life. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter. None of it matters. None of it. Treat them with respect. As human beings. Again, I don't care what role people have. You know, when you really think about it, whether it's a degree or a certain type of job or anything, people work hard for these things, and they work hard in these positions. But life is so much bigger than that. So much bigger than that. There's so much suffering and unhappiness out there. A lot. Sometimes I think life is just very difficult with little periods of joy and happiness. Some people think the opposite. That life is full of joy and happiness with little periods of, depression and challenges. Life is a challenge. Now, it's better to be alive than not, but it's a challenge. Every day there's a challenge. I know that you know this. I do. That's why I tell you all the time how blessed I am to be where I am, to do what I do, to speak to you, my beloved audience. You people are fantastic. You are. You know, when I talk to you, I'm not giving you BS. I'm speaking from my heart and soul and my brain. Doesn't mean we always have to agree, but that's what I'm doing. Can take it or leave it. It's okay. It's okay. When I take on people, powerful people, I feel like if I don't speak up and challenge them, nobody will or few others will. And so that's what I do. The slings and arrows come, I just don't care. It doesn't affect me. There's so much more important in life than what some reprobate or bigot or Jew hater or America hater thinks of me. I don't care. It's you I care about. The American people who make this country work. And everybody struggles a little bit, if not a lot. They do. And many of you listening are and do. I get beautiful notes sometimes from people in hospitals, people suffering from cancer. It is heart-wrenching. And other people do. But the show must go on, right? And so it shall. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. We're going to have the Republican candidate for governor of New Jersey on the program. What is it, next week, Mr. Producer? We have a call out to the candidate in Virginia. Have they gotten back to us yet? It's not a good sign. What are we waiting, day 3 now? It's crazy. Okay, well, we'd like Sears to come on the program and help her out in Virginia. We will help out in New Jersey. Jack Chittarelli is a good man. Like him a lot. But there's a big scandal going on right now in New Jersey. Many people wouldn't be surprised. It is New Jersey. I happen to like New Jersey a lot. I hate the Democrats that run it. But I like the state. I like the people in the state. I like the ethnicity in the state. I like the delicatessens in the state, Mr. Producer. It's a great state. It's the most dense state in the nation. Did you know that? Now you do. New Jersey Democratic governor hopeful Mikey Sherrill's husband is also ensnared in a massive Naval Academy cheating scandal. All right, let's see here. Maybe we should do first things first. Let's see here if I can find her first. All right, let's try this one. Top gubernatorial race rocked by allegations of leaks and dirty tricks amid improper military records release. So what's going on here, folks? This is Fox. The bitter ballot box battle in New Jersey, only one of 2 races for governor this year in the entire country, is in turmoil today, after a bombshell report yesterday revealed that the United States Naval Academy blocked Representative Mikey Sherrill. It's a woman. Is it Mikey or Mickey? We don't know and we don't care. She's no good. The Democratic gubernatorial nom... Aren't you in New Jersey? No. But you're right next to New Jersey. Don't you watch these commercials? They're not on? Not in New York, but don't some of them bleed into the New York market? You're not watching TV. Well, okay. Let's continue. We'll call her Mikey. It's probably Mickey, but I don't care. Now, this is from yesterday. The United States Naval Academy blocked her, the Democratic gubernatorial nominee, from walking with her graduating class amid a 1994 cheating scandal. Now, she's been running on this Naval Academy background now, every race she has. Okay? But she never told anybody, of course, that she was part of a massive graduating class scandal, 1994 cheating scandal. The report revealed that a federal agency had admitted it wrongly given much of the Democrat nominee Representative Cheryl's private military records to an ally of GOP rival Jack Ciattarelli. Top House Democrats in Washington are calling for an investigation. Of course they are, but the facts don't change the facts, now do they? People are raising questions about her, a U.S. Naval Academy grad who went on to pilot helicopters during a military career, after the documents released reveal that she had been barred from walking with her classmates during her 1994 graduation for failing to report those who had cheated on the exam. Now, of course the Democrats are going to change. Who liked it? Who liked it? Except when it comes to Comey, the leaks don't matter. The leaks don't matter. Ciattarelli is calling on Cheryl to release her records to prove why she was blocked from attending her graduation ceremony. What we learned today is that she's part of it in some way, shape, or form. Come clean, release the records, tell us what's in your disciplinary records. I think the people in New Jersey deserve that. Of course, where's the rest of the media? Are they calling for it? Of course not. Of course not. Where's the slimes? There we have. Controversy went viral after CBS News reported it yesterday that the National Personnel Records Center, which is a branch of the National Archives and Records Administration, released improperly her redacted military personnel files, which included private information, including her Social Security number. I guess now they know how Trump felt when they released his tax returns. National Archives, in a letter this week, apologized to Cheryl, saying the improper release was due to a government worker's error over a legal records request. Let's see here. Here we go. Cheryl campaign argued, this is breathtaking, disturbing leak that must be thoroughly investigated. Okay, thoroughly investigate the leak. Now, where's the documents? Can you defend yourself? No, she can't defend herself, or she would defend herself. She doesn't. That's a lie. She can't say that. And, of course, Hakeem Jeffries, who always seems like he's asleep, all of a sudden hey, we're going to look into this. Who cares? Now, the Ciattarelli's campaign in a letter Friday pushed back on claims by Cheryl campaign that top Democrats, pressure from the Trump administration Republicans was behind it. The campaign charged that Cheryl tried to distract attention away from the fact with false accusations and half-truths amount to a clerical error by the National Archives. The fact is, she didn't get to go through the graduating process. So what happened? Assuming everything else she says is right, and it's not. But let's play along. Let's assume it is. What happened? Why won't she tell you? The voters in New Jersey. Why? Because she's embarrassed. She's humiliated. She did something wrong. That's why she hasn't come forward. Now, she's made $7 million since she was a member of the House of Representatives, because we know Democrats hate capitalism and money. But they all seem to wind up rich, don't they? Right, Mandami? Your family's worth millions. You have your own compound in Uganda, and who wouldn't? And then you come back preaching your crap about Marxism. But that's all right. There's enough suckers. Hey, let's try something different. Schmucks, morons. Failures. So she and her hubby, they made $7 million in that. So they're trying to figure out exactly how did you do this so fast? And she's mumbo jumbo. You get mumbo jumbo. Mumbo jumbo. How'd you make $7 million so fast in the House of Representatives? Well, you know. Well. Then we have, thank God for the New York Post, by the way. Then we have her husband also ensnared in a massive Naval Academy cheating scandal. Well, that's probably how they got to meet each other, Mr. Producer. Democratic New Jersey gubernatorial candidate Mikey Cheryl's husband was also caught up in the Naval Academy cheating scandal that has rocked her campaign. Court documents exclusively obtained by the New York Post. Court documents, okay? Compliance with the orders of their superior military officers, each named plaintiff was compelled to make inculpatory statements. The Navy Inspector General investigators read the complaint, which charged the students were denied due process. Now, the details of any inculpatory statements by Hellberg are unclear. However, his name is included in the 1994 commencement program, that's her husband, suggesting he, unlike Cheryl, was cleared to take part in the exercises some 3 months after the suit was filed. Cheryl told the New Jersey Globe, which first reported it on Thursday, her being barred from the commencement. Her punishment was a consequence of her decision not to turn in some of my classmates. A source close to the rival campaign questioned that statement. Why don't you just come clear, release everything? Seriously. Let the Chads fall where they may. Nobody, including Mikey, Mickey, Cheryl, was barred from graduation ceremonies for covering for their friends, claimed this person who has reviewed the document. That's a bunch of bull blank. Midshipmen were, however, punished for lying to naval investigators. I suspect that's what happened. She lied during the course of an investigation. That's my guess. Prove me wrong. No evidence has surfaced that the future congresswoman was punished for being untruthful to school officials. There are indications she has not been upfront about what transpired. Cheryl's team has rejected requests to release disciplinary records from... If the disciplinary records show, ladies and gentlemen, that she was covering for a friend, okay. But apparently they show a lot more than that. In response to inquiries from the Post Friday, Cheryl's campaign communications director, Sean Higgins, said, the fact that GOP candidate Jack Citarelli, that's where you stop and say, okay, look, you're going to mention your opponent. They're asking about your records. Now, multiple shipmen acquired and shared answers to a December 14, 1992 exam for Electrical Engineering 311, a mandatory class for all non-engineering majors. The test was administered to 663 students, according to the lawsuit that involved Hedberg, her husband. In a 2002 episode of CBS News 48 Hours that reported on the scandal, one of the students involved estimated that, quote, probably 80% of the people who took the test had knowledge and had seen it the night before. Saw the answers. The day after the test was administered, Academy officials caught wind of the cheating and went on to open a series of investigations, including by the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, NCIS. Ooh, we've heard of them. Multiple honored boards, disciplinary panels, and the Office of the Naval Inspector General. Ultimately, 88 were found guilty of participation in the dissemination of the exam, the Washington Post reported at the time. 24 were expelled, 64 receiving lesser penalties, such as late graduation. Apparently one couldn't participate in the graduation. That would be the Democrat running for governor of New Jersey. Ooh. After graduating, Hedberg, the husband, became a Navy intelligence officer and Cheryl a Navy pilot. The two have 4 children together. And it goes on. But she's not going to reveal anything. You know what we used to call that, Mr. Producer? A cover-up. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
I like the way the president and the administration are responding to the Democrats who are going to shut down the government. They say, well, he won't talk to them because they put a gun to his head. That's why. They said, you'll either give us $1.5 trillion, including massive amounts of money for illegal aliens, like for health care, or we're shutting down the government. Now they'll go on, Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security and health care, because they're liars. They do this every time. Over at the Blaze Media, while Democrats continue to dig in their heels ahead of the looming deadline to avert a government shutdown, the White House has made clear that the administration is willing to go nuclear. The Office of Management and Budget, headed by Director Russ Voigt, escalated the already tense funding fight by threatening mass firings across the federal workforce if Democrats shut down the government. In a new memo, the OMB directed agencies to identify programs whose funding lapses after the September 30 deadline and instructed them to begin drafting reduction in force notice for employees who may be affected. This is genius. Absolute genius. Absolute genius. Usually they get a pink slip and told to come back, as soon as this is worked out. What Voight and what the president are saying, no, we're gonna remove people. That's it. We're not playing this game anymore. That's good. Over the past 10 fiscal years, the memo reads, Congress has consistently passed continuing resolutions on or by September 30 and on a bipartisan basis, the memo says. Unfortunately, congressional Democrats are signaling they intend to break this bipartisan trend and shut down the government in the coming days over a series of insane demands, including $1 trillion of new spending. As such, it has never been more important for the administration to be prepared for a shutdown if the Democrats choose to pursue one. The House narrowly passed the GOP-led CR, 217 to 212 vote, seeking to keep the government open through November 21. The funding bill was a clean 91-page CR that included anomalies to increase funding for security, allocating $30 million for Congress, $30 million to the executive branch, and so forth. Now, as the memo points out, the clean continuing resolution was consistent with previous bipartisan funding bills. Despite this, Democrats refused to reach across the aisle to keep the government open and instead introduced their own bill containing a $1.5 trillion, I told you it was 1.5, not one, $1.5 trillion, quote, progressive reckless wish list. The Senate is now tasked with taking up the CR just days before the deadline. Schumer said the Trump administration's threat to fire federal workers is just an attempt at intimidation. But the shutdown would not affect programs like Social Security, Medicare, and veterans benefits. These are specifically excluded, just so you know. So if you hear them talking about it, you know what a bunch of lying sack of you-know-what they are. Okay? This is important. Social Security and Medicare veterans benefits, law enforcement, military operations, Customs and Border Protection, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and Air Traffic Control are all excluded. They're called essential. This is an attempt at intimidation, Schumer said. Donald Trump has been firing federal workers since day one, not to govern, but to scare. This is nothing new and has nothing to do with funding the government. The problem for Schumer is he's not his own man anymore, if he ever was. And the Marxist Islamists control him. So he needs a shutdown. He needs a shutdown, and he wants a shutdown. And he'll get a shutdown. And now there'll be an opportunity to further remove individuals. And you see, and then they can't even make these preposterous arguments. President doesn't have the power to do these things. The court today just said the president did have the power to cut $4 billion from one program. You know, the president's not just a clerk who sits there and does everything Congress tells him to do. He's in a co-equal branch of government. Co-equal branch of government. Very important. But here, if the other co-equal branch, or one of them, the Congress decides, we're not funding, he can say, okay, I've got your message, now we're firing. See what I mean, Rich? They're not funding. So he can't hire, and he has to fire. And so they're going to fire. This is the genius. This is really brilliant. It really is. Trump and this guy, Vaught, whatever his name is. Russ. Like that's easier. That is brilliant. Got to congratulate them. And let's see where this goes. I'm almost excited for a government shutdown at this point. Aren't you? It's like, okay, do it. That's why Trump's basically thumbing his nose at them, saying, okay, you want to make these stupid demands and all the rest of it. Goodbye. And he did. So let's see here. So that's his response, Trump's response to their lunacy. That's his so-called nuclear option. By the way, a Syria's valley of the Christians is burning. Islamists are burning the homes and the businesses of these Christians and murdering them. And nobody's saying a word. I think I'm the only one even talking about this. And we have an envoy who represents Syria. He's the ambassador to Turkey. He's the envoy to Lebanon. And this guy's an idiot. An idiot. The time the Israelis went in to try and protect them, they were attacked. by our envoy, the American envoy. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin, the great one.
The great one, Mark Levin.
Dial in now, 877-381-3811.
Don't forget, folks, 2 great shows this weekend. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, of course, on Fox, Life, Liberty, and Levin. We have Brandon Tatum, former police officer out of Arizona, is a great podcaster, actually a great patriot. And Douglas Murray, another great guy, brilliant, and just fascinating to talk to. He goes into the lion's den all the time and debates these leftists and these kooks on the right. That's Douglas Murray. So that'll be tomorrow night, and I'm going to have my opening statement on this issue of free speech, the First Amendment, ABC, Kimmel, in a way that I'm sure you've never heard. And then Sunday night, my opening is going to be talking about Comey, the things Comey did, and why I think this case is a good case, but I'm worried about the judge, a Biden judge. And our guest Sunday night will be Colonel Richard Kemp, the former commander of British Armed Forces in Afghanistan. He's fantastic. And Richard Goldberg, who is sharp as hell, is very, very good. Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Interestingly enough, that organization comes under attack by the likes of a Carlson, and yet his father worked there, was vice chairman for a period of time. Dick Carlson, who was a very, very nice man. He was a Democrat, was a Reaganite, and was a hawk, and also was very, very pro-Israel. Nobody ever asks him about that, but then again, who cares? Let's take a few calls, I would say. Holden, Lubbock, Texas, on the Mark Levin app. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing, Mark?
Very well, thank you.
I was just calling because I wanted to thank you. I've been listening to your show for years, as long as I can remember. My dad introduced me to your show. He recently passed away, and he always meant to call in, but he could never bring himself to do it because he was worried to make a fool of himself in front of you.
No, I'm sorry that he passed away.
But, it's all right. I just wanted to thank you. Your show gave us, oh man, I don't even know how many years of just something to bond over. You know, a couple hours a night, just sit around and listen to the show.
Tell me about your father a little bit, if you can. If it's going to upset you, you don't have to. It's up to you.
No, I don't know what to tell you.
How old was he? How old was he when he passed?
He was 44.
A young man.
We're to be honest, we're not quite sure what went wrong. It was out of the blue. He had his fair share of health problems, but at the time it seemed like he was doing all right.
Mm-hmm. Well, what did he do?
Oh, he had a number of different jobs, to be honest. He actually was on the radio here in Lubbock for a while at one point.
Wow.
I think that
just a hard-working guy,
might have
right?
been where he just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He loved you and Rush very much. He listened to both of you. I mean, every night that y'all are on the air.
I really, really appreciate that, and he'll be in our thoughts. And you made the call for him. I'm sure he'd be very proud of you, Holden. I'm going to do something. I mean, it sounds Mickey Mouse, but I'm going to send you a signed copy of my book. Mr. Producer, get Holden's address. Let's get him a copy of the book. And we appreciate your call, and we're sorry about your father, for sure. Let's go to Deborah, Mid-Coast, Maine, on the Mark Levin app. That sounds about nice right now, Mid-Coast, Maine. In about a month it won't, but it sounds nice now. How are you?
I'm very good, Mark, and I want to just say that I'm glad you had a safe journey to and from Israel, and God bless you. I was turned on to your show years ago when I was disabled, I was doing some volunteer work for a homeless veteran down in North Carolina in Wilmington after he came back from Iraq. And he turned me on to years ago. I mean, he came back in like 2008. So it's been a long time, and I watch your shows religiously and tell everybody to watch you.
Thank you.
You're definitely the great one, as President John Trump states, that's for sure.
You're very, very kind. Yes, he may not say it after tonight, but you never know.
Well, no, he will. Comey needs to go to prison.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Along with a whole bunch of other ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they won't, because they got some Biden judge that's going to let them walk.
And how the hell does that always happen? I mean, that's just crazy. A Biden judge.
Yeah. Well, we you know what? The Republicans, I'm an independent conservative patriot, constitutionalist.
Good.
And it's nobody's business that I'm a staunch Republican. But I volunteer for the Republican Party, and I'm going to do everything I can to turn this state back red, because we have horrible people here.
Apparently, Susan Collins is in trouble. Is that right, or am I wrong?
She's not going to run again. I don't know if she's in any trouble, but she's like always voting with Murkowski and her other friend there.
Now, Murkowski's going to be in trouble because your governor wants to run against her. I say anybody but her. She needs to go. That's enough already.
Yeah. Angus King is an independent, but he still pretty much sides with the Democrats all the time.
Big lib.
Yeah. Yep.
It's too bad. Yep. It's a great state. It's a beautiful state. It really is. There's a lot of cool stuff going on up there. Anyway, I want to thank you, my friend, for your call. Much appreciated. You take care of yourself. Let's go to Steve Reston, Virginia, one of the first planned communities. Now it's heavy-duty Marxist. The great WMAL. How are you, Steve?
I'm doing well, Mark. It's a pleasure talking to you. We've never spoken before. My name's Stephen Sunda. I was actually the former chief of police of the United States Capitol Police on January 6th.
Whoa, really? I know who you are.
Yeah.
How are you?
Jason from Cantina d'Italia says hello.
I love that place.
Yeah,
my best.
But I appreciate you taking the call tonight. And when you're talking earlier, you mentioned Doug the boxer. My thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. I hope I
am his family. That's my brother. But thank you very, very much.
But what you say about treating people with respect, that's what carried me through 25 and a half years with the D.C. police, walking footbeats in Anacostia and Southeast. You treat people right, and hopefully they treat you the same.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right on. You're absolutely right. How are you doing these days?
Doing well. I'm glad more information keeps coming out. As more information comes out, things are looking better. I know there's a big report that came out today about a number of federal agents that responded to the Capitol, and some that were in the crowd.
234 or something like that.
I'm sorry.
Like 234 were in the crowd. That says 274. Sorry.
275. I think John Solomon was reporting 275.
That's a lot.
Now, a number of those probably were responding. At the time, I'd spoken to Dave Bowditch, who was the number 2 at the FBI, and requested assistance once we came under the riot got out of control on the West Front. But I have no doubt there was already. I'd be surprised if there wasn't already some in the crowd. I mean, they were tracking 19, I think, domestic terrorists. They're going to track those with special agents.
Now, let me ask you something about this. You were there January 6th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did Nancy Pelosi speak to you? I know all this. I'm trying to get it out. Did Nancy Pelosi speak to you?
I spoke to her 3 times on January 6th. Yes, sir.
And tell everybody what she said.
So what? If you got a quick minute, I'll give you a quick little background. A lot of people don't realize that when they talk about President Trump offering National Guard support on January 6th, I have no doubt he did. I can tell you right now, I requested National Guard support 13 times. Twice on January 3rd. I was denied twice on January 3rd. Carol Corbin from the Pentagon actually called over to offer National Guard support. By law, I couldn't accept it because federal law to U.S. 1970 prevents me from requesting, accepting any assistance without approval from the Capitol Police Board and concurrence from congressional leadership. So when Pelosi says she didn't play a role, she's written into the law. And then on January 6th, 12:53, when the riot got out of control, I requested assistance at 12:58 from the Capitol Police Board. It wasn't for 71 minutes that I finally got approval.
The point is, we're running out of time. You were denied over and over and over and over again, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I was denied over and over. I spoke to Pelosi 3 times. The very next day, she goes on national TV, calls for my resignation, and says, besides, he's never even spoke to me.
Yeah, she's a disgrace. We're going to have to go. Call again next week, if you would. I want to pursue this more, Steve.
Yeah, Mr. Producer has my contacts. It's great talking, Mark.
Thank you, brother. Have a good weekend. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
By the way, in Virginia, District 30, the House delegate race, around where I live, the gentleman running, a Republican, Gary Higgins, Higgins, Gary Higgins. He didn't ask me to do this. I want to strongly endorse him and hope you vote for him. He's a good man. He's a good man of faith. He's been a fantastic delegate. Again, his name is Gary Higgins, District 30. You can check him out if you want at GaryHiggins.com, G-E-A-R-Y, Higgins.com. Good man, Mr. Producer. You'd love this guy. Just terrific. Just a wonderful family man. I've posted and I've discussed in the last hour from a Saudi news service, such as it was, the bullet points on the Gaza plan that's being discussed. I have no idea if it's accurate. If it is, I'm deeply concerned about it, and I personally would oppose it. I personally believe the state of Israel must oppose it. It'll be very difficult because they'll be under enormous pressure by our government and under enormous pressure by the Western world. I mean, it's a tiny country that in many respects is on its own, but it's a country. It's a sovereign nation. And just because somebody else or some other country says you will do this or you won't do that, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Now, again, I don't know in any respect if what I've posted is accurate. I've told you all about it. But if it is accurate, it's a non-starter. It's a disaster. Absolute disaster. The Saudis might like it. Qatar might like it. The rest of them might like it. Too damn bad. Here we are every Friday in honor of you, America. forget, 2 great shows this weekend. I was away, so these are brand new shows. Saturday, Life, Liberty, and Levin, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can DVR it. I would encourage you to do that. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, same thing. Great shows. And I appreciate that you appreciate them. The week is officially over. The weekend begins right now. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the men and women in Ukraine, the men and women in Israel. We stand with you, folks. And you, the American people, the best of the best. Good night, Spritey and Griffey and Pepsi. Good night, Smokey and Zelda and Gigi. Good night, Indy and Patton and Rory. Good night, Marty. Good night, little Barney. Good night, Dad and Mom. We're doing everything we can. Trust me. And good night, Leo and Joe and Bernard and Teddy and Lou and so many wonderful family members and friends. Patriots, gone but not forgotten. So I'll see you tomorrow night on Fox. See you Sunday night on Fox. Be back here on Monday. Have a safe and wonderful weekend. God bless you.